Well, this news still coming in on the major train accident that took place this evening at 5:45. The Puri Haridwar Kalinga Utkal Express derailed near Muzaffarnagar in Uttar Pradesh. 14 bogies of the express have gone off the rails, 6 of which have capsized. At least 10 people have been reported dead, 50 injured. Rescue operations are still underway. We understand that several people are still trapped inside those bogies. Those that have been moved out have been taken to local hospitals. Uttar Pradesh ATS, the anti-terror squad team, are on the accident site investigating the probability of foul play and any sort of sabotage with this particular incident. We also understand from the Railways PRO and from people who we spoke to on the ground that there was some sort of repair work happening on the tracks in this particular case, and that may have also led to the derailment. This was the 18477 express and the accident took place at between 5:40 and 5:50 this evening. We also understand that the UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has instructed all of the hospitals to provide free treatment to injured passengers. There are 2 NDRF teams on the ground. They've also been rushed basically from the Ghaziabad headquarters. 35 ambulances, 1,000 food packets and additional private-run and state-run buses have been arranged to move people to safe places, either to the hospitals if they need care or to other holding areas. Volunteers are being mobilized from Meerut as well. Medical colleges and district hospitals, a large number of private hospitals are being prepared to receive patients for emergencies. On the phone line with me, Vinay Tewari, our consulting editor, joins us. Vinay, as always, we're hearing about ex gratia being announced at this point, but like you pointed out, what the more pressing thing right now is to have hospitals actually prepared to receive patients in large numbers who need emergency care.
Yes, and I think on that particular specific note, the Meerut Divisional Commissioner Prabhat Kumar has actually just issued an order which has cancelled all leaves of all government doctors and staff in hospitals in the entire divisions. And the division includes Muzaffarnagar, Meerut and Ghaziabad as well. So there's about 3 districts surrounding that area. All the leaves of all doctors and hospital staff has been cancelled, and everybody, and remember this is a weekend, so there are a lot of OPDs are working at a much less strength than on a weekday. And obviously this is something that needs to be done, because you really will feel the aftermath of this disaster tomorrow by when the entire rescue operation would have been completed in the morning. So the system is under strain for sure, but I think they have at least some effort is being made to get the doctors and the staff to be in the hospitals ready to receive all these patients, as you mentioned.
Right, and Vinay, just before we went into break, we were talking about the fact that there is, normally what is called a golden hour, or maybe let's in this case extend it to a couple of hours after an accident, where we have to try and get medical attention to the injured as quickly as possible. We're quickly running out of time in this case. If there are people who are still to be, rescued from these bogies, who are trapped in, gas cutters are being used, as we can see on our screen. But the longer they stay trapped in those bogies, the worse it is.
Yes, and I think this is very typical in train accidents, especially in India. Remember, healthcare or the health rescue mechanism in India is so ancient that in every train accident, the first responders are usually the villagers and the people who live around that area. Now remember, those people are good-spirited human citizens who are really trying to help people without having any idea.
But they're not qualified,
yes. Or not qualified on how to actually rescue people. And remember, some of the injuries sometimes get aggravated by the way that's done. Not their fault, but that sometimes reflects on the quality of our emergency response. We don't have a concept of paramedic care. We don't have a concept of efficient ambulance services. Our ambulance design itself is a big problem. You have any vehicle which is converted into an ambulance simply by painting a plus sign on it and putting a beacon light, and that's not an ambulance at all.
Yes.
And we are a long way off from actually having ambulances which are actually equipped to handle paramedic care while the patient is on way to the hospital. And a lot of deaths in India actually happen because of the quality of the first responders that we have. And in this case, in accidents, it's really the people around that area who are the first responders and not qualified medical practitioners.
Yes. In fact, I understand there are responses coming in from government right now. We're just going to listen in.
से सबक लेकर उन सब लोगों की जानें जो गई हैं वो व्यर्थ नहीं जाएंगी और मोदी सरकार कुछ क्रियात्मक कार्य रेलवे सुरक्षा के बारे में करेगी। Our deep and heartfelt condolences to victims of the Utkal Express in Muzaffarnagar today. Since Modi government has taken over, 27 major railway accidents have claimed 259 lives of innocent passengers. 900 have been seriously injured. Railway safety still remains under a cloud and question mark. If Modi ji can spend 1 lakh crore on a bullet train, which he promised between Ahmedabad and Mumbai, why can't he allocate 40,000 crore for railway safety? We have seen platform tickets go up. We have seen passenger fares and freight fares go up. We have seen a new cess for railway safety, but railway safety remains under a serious cloud. We sincerely hope and request the government to at least wake up from its slumber, taking a lesson from the current painful train accident in Muzaffarnagar and ensure that adequate time-bound measures are taken for railway safety.
Sir, are you satisfied with the steps taken by the Ministry of Railways after this incident?
That was Randeep Surjewala of the Congress party. Like we pointed out, reactions coming in, and obviously blame here being from the opposition being placed at the doorstep of the Prime Minister. Vinay, this is, like you said, it's political rhetoric really to demand resignations and to blame the government in power. But do you believe that more should have been done to make rail travel safer in this country? Because we've had some bad experiences already over the last 24 months or so.
Yes, of course, more should have been done. But I think the real point is, and it's a little tragic that you have Congress, very senior Congress spokespersons actually coming out and speaking rhetorically, which is stupid, in the sense that this a very heavy investment infrastructure sector like railways cannot be fixed in a year or two. I mean, this requires a decade-long plan at least for you to be able to fix it. You have thousands of kilometers of fatigued rail tracks which need replacement. It's a very tedious and a very expensive task, and it takes a very long time. And obviously it needs to be done, but the process, even if it started today, you will begin to see the effect of it only 7 to 8 years from now. It's not going to happen in a year or so.
And
it's
incidentally, you said, yes, you said it would take a decade to fix, and the UPA government had exactly a decade.
Yes, and they had more than that even earlier. So the point is that for all the talk about investment in safety, the record of the previous governments has not been any good either. I mean, you had an RJD Supremo as a railway minister for a very long time, who actually once went to Harvard and actually gave a presentation of how he turned around the railways, only to find later, which experts found that was nothing but window dressing. You can't just window dress your way to claim that railway has turned around. You had a Trinamool Supremo as a railway minister, who frankly turned out to be a minister only for one state, and there was absolutely no effort made to improve safety. And I remember the only thing that really, in Delhi, for instance, the only thing, the joke in those years used to be that the state from where the railway minister comes is the state which gets the most premium platforms for their own trains. That's the only difference that people saw on the ground. The safety aspect of Indian train has been a neglected story for the last 30, 40 years. And I think it's very unfortunate that politicians can actually come around and blame each other for a problem that they've created themselves.
Right. Vinay, stay with us. Anila Singh, spokesperson of the BJP, joins us live right now. So does Rifat Jawed, founder of Janata, a reporter who's also a very senior journalist. Anila and Rifat, thank you for joining us. Anila Singh, we just heard a comment from a Congress spokesperson who pointed out that the ruling party, the BJP, should take responsibility. I'm not going to go down that road of rhetoric right now, but I do want to ask you, what is the information that you're getting? What sort of aid is moving right now from within UP to the area of the accident?
Yeah, Faye, actually, first of all, my heartfelt condolences for all those who have been killed in this unfortunate train accident, and my sympathy is with all those who are injured in it. It is unfortunate indeed, and the reason and the causes are still being probed. That what was the cause? Prima facie, it is being said that some sort of mischief has been done with the railway tracks. Whole of the government machinery is on it, right from doctors to administration. Everybody is there on the ground zero, helping people there in the train, around the area. So whole government machinery is working on it. But indeed, it is unfortunate, and Indian Railway, it is one of the largest railway network in the world. And as I heard Mr. Tewari saying about the railway system, it indeed requires at least a decade's time to make it in a very proper manner, right from monitoring to everything. This government is on it, but I think we require a little more time on it. And but definitely, it is unfortunate what has happened today, and I can only wish that it doesn't repeat in the future.
This is information that's just coming in. 11 bodies have been recovered, 11 confirmed deaths, 65 injured, brought to Khatauli Hospital. This is the UP Principal Secretary Home, Arvind Kumar, who has put out this statement. So 11 bodies and 65 injured people have been brought to the Khatauli Hospital so far. Rifat Jawed joins us as well. Rifat's a very senior journalist. Rifat, unfortunately, on regular intervals, really, we're talking about train derailments here. And this one seems to be a very serious case. From the latest information that we picked up from the Indian Railways, 14 bogies have gone off the rails, of which 6 have capsized. And there are still people trapped inside of these bogies.
Look, I mean, Vinay was talking about, the whole legacy or the history of, our minister's attitude towards not creating a kind of, the safe, the environment for the trains to travel. He forgot to mention one more name, Nitish Kumar, who is the Chief Minister. If you remember, there was a massive train accident, headlong collision in Gasar in Bengal in 1999, taking about 400 or 500 army officers, from who had fought in the Kargil battle. 350 of them had died. I was covering that train accident, so I know that. Look, the story is that none of us, none of the government has been serious about making the train track safe, and it's about the misplaced priority. And Vinay is right. I mean, it's not, you can't just single out the Modi government. The government prior to Modi government has been the same. But in Modi, under Prime Minister Modi, I think there has been even bigger misplaced priority that, we are spending to the tune of 90,000 crore rupees to create a small, the segment of bullet train wherein, the millions of Indians travel, on the normal track across the country, and we haven't done anything, towards kind of making those tracks safe. And you're right. I mean, only a few months ago, we saw what happened in Kanpur. Over 200 people died. We didn't learn anything from that. And we can't keep blaming the sabotage, all the time, every time we are faced with this situation. 11 people have died, and if the reports of 6 bogies being submerged is true, then the fatalities, how high it could go up.
Right, and the other question, of course, Rifat, and I must, accept that we've spent the last week talking about the lack of healthcare, primary healthcare in Uttar Pradesh. Now, this is an acid test for perhaps emergency healthcare in Uttar Pradesh as well. Western UP, being this close to Delhi, has received a fair amount of help from the Ghaziabad headquarters of the NDRF. 4 teams have already been dispatched of the NDRF. They're on ground already. But do you believe that the Khatauli hospital or the Meerut hospital are prepared already on a Saturday night to receive the kind of injured that they're going to receive tonight?
See, Khatauli is a small, you can say, small town. I don't think it's equipped to deal with the crisis of this magnitude. Even if, and the problem is, that's exactly what, we have been talking for last few nights, the healthcare system or the basic infrastructure, successive governments have just simply not been serious about it. Even if, God forbid, even if that accident or this accident of this magnitude had taken place in Ghaziabad, south or even in Delhi, we would have struggled because we have simply not invested, in improving our health system or, enhancing the facilities on any infrastructure level. That's a reality, whether it's a government under the current regime, which is the Yogi government or the Samajwadi Party, or why just focus it on UP across the country? That is the story, and that's a sad story that we have simply not invested on infrastructure. Look, we talked about Gorakhpur. Today we had 2 high-profile visits in Gorakhpur, and we started indulging in political fisticuff between Rahul Gandhi and Yogi Adityanath. Yogi Adityanath has been condemned, rightly so. Rahul Gandhi must also be condemned, what he has done, in his own home constituency. So I'm just using this example to illustrate that, our attitude towards, creating a state-of-the-art infrastructure, across India has been absolutely shambolic. And the political parties of, I'm going
to interrupt you for a second, if I may. Our reporter on the ground, Amir, joins us on the phone line. Amir is the head of our Lucknow Bureau for the Times Network. Amir, tell us, what is the latest information that you're picking up? We've just picked up from the ANI has put out information from the UP Principal Secretary home that 11 dead bodies have been recovered and 65 injured have arrived at the Khatauli hospital. What else are you picking up on the ground, Amir?
Faye, as far as the casualties are confirmed, we've been told by Mr. Sanjeev Balyan himself that he confirms that 14 dead bodies have actually been moved from the accident site towards the hospitals. So therefore, he's a responsible person. So obviously, even before the railway authorities have confirmed us 14 dead, we have this figure earlier, although the officials on the ground were telling us that only about that till the time we last updated the figure, there were 10 dead. As far as injured is concerned, there are over 60 injured that have been reported from the site. Most of them have till now been removed from there with help from government and private ambulances that have been placed on the job. The government has clarified that their first priority right now is rescue and relief, just so that all the injured are moved from the accident site and sent to the nearest hospital for medical aid. So rescue and relief on top priority right now, but because the condition on the ground looks pretty bad, there are about 14 coaches who have actually derailed there, several of them in an absolutely mangled situation there. And in fact, the bogies have not just toppled down, they have also gone one over the other, making the rescue work very, very difficult for the rescue workers there. Lights have been installed to help the rescue work over there. They're being helped by the civil police over there to maintain law and order, because remember, thousands of people from nearby areas are congregating to this accident site, curious people who want to see what it is like when this accident happened. And therefore, since evening, there has been a steady stream of people from neighboring areas towards this accident site, apart from rescue and relief and emergency service vehicles who've been moving around. The UP Police's ATS team has also reached the site. In fact, although they are confirming that their initial focus will remain on to assist in the rescue and relief work, and once all this work is over, and that doesn't seem to be happening soon, then they will get down to picking up the forensic evidences from there, because so far they don't say that this could be a foul play. It barely looks like an accident, and the railway authorities, perhaps their experts, will have to go through the accident site, and then we will actually get to know what were the reasons behind the accident. But so far, focus on emergency services, focus on rescue and relief work on the ground. And once the place is declared that all injured have been given medical aid, it is only then that rest of the work will resume.
Amir, we're just going to go across to the district magistrate of Haridwar, who's putting out a statement right now, and then we'll come back to you. Please stay with us.
और सीधे मुझसे ताज़ा हालात के बारे में पूछें। धन्यवाद।
Amir, do we have an idea of how many passengers were on this train tonight? Because the injured are going to have to be moved to hospitals, and those, thankfully, who have not been injured will need to be given, a place to stay tonight, will need to be looked after until alternate arrangements of transport are made for them.
Well, yes, Faye, the railway authorities are mindful of that, but they do not, as of now, have a complete list of the number of passengers therein. Yes, there are several general coaches as well, wherein the numbers get difficult to get. It gets difficult to count the actual numbers of passengers traveling therein. But yes, railways will soon be out with the list. There are counters that they put up at various railway stations, including Haridwar railway station where the train was to culminate, and the Puri railway station in Odisha, wherein the list of injured and of the several casualties that have been confirmed by railways is being put up. So that's about the work that railways is doing. But immediately, it is the district authorities which are pitching in. Not just authorities from Muzaffarnagar, but from several other neighboring districts have actually been pressed for to provide medical services therein. And also people have been engaged to prepare a complete list of the injured persons.
And Amir, we just, the ANI is putting out information saying 400 people are injured and 23 have been killed. Does this sound likely to you? Because the confirmed numbers by the railways is about 50 injured.
Well, we'll go by the number of casualties that are actually given to us by railway authorities, because it is only once the dead are actually registered at the hospitals where they are taken in, and the entire list coming in from different hospitals is collated, and then it is that such numbers are actually officially given out. So we must wait for the numbers. But yes, there are responsible, ministers who are going to be visiting the place. In fact, the Yogi government has sent ministers, Satish Mahana, with a junior minister there, and who will be taking stock of the situation, the relief work. Obviously,
right.
A large number of VVIPs is not what we require out there, but these ministers have actually been briefed, both Suresh Taina and Satish Mahana, who will be visiting the accident site too. So focus will remain on rescue and relief work, and definitely those injured who can actually be sent back after initial medical aid will be shifted to the nearest stations wherever actually they were bound to. Most passengers, although were to go to Haridwar only, which is about 200 kilometers from this place. So railways will actually arrange for their onward travel, and also the luggage which is found there, which remains unclaimed, is also registered with the railway authority. So it's a Herculean, task to first sift through these mangled coaches.
Okay.
And then
all right, Amir. I just want to bring in Vinay Tewari one more time. Vinay Tewari is our senior consulting editor. Vinay, conflicting numbers being put out. The DGPRO has tweeted of the Indian Railways has tweeted saying 400 people being injured was tweeted by mistake, and have actually said to not believe these numbers. So there's a fair amount of confusion with the information that's coming out from the ground from the railways itself.
Yes, and I think Amir was kind of indicating towards that.
Yes.
In any crisis or accident in India, typically there is a multiplicity of authorities who give their own estimates, and usually the process of collating information of how many people have actually died is a very manual and a very tedious process. In fact, the only centralized agency which usually collates all data on casualties is the police. And remember, in many cases, people are taken to various, it's not just one hospital they're taken to various different hospitals. And the police actually physically goes around all the hospitals. So there is one CO level officer who will actually physically go around collating all data. So it takes enormously long for our systems to actually find out the exact number. But I think this number of 400 definitely seems a little exaggerated. I'm not too sure if there will be a 400 number of injured. But certainly, I think what is very safe to assume that considering what the NDRF has told us about 3 coaches have still not been, cut open for rescue. It is very obvious that the number of casualties or the number of injured will rise from what is being officially confirmed so far. Faye.
Right. All right. Vinay, we have Mr. J.P. Nadda, the Union Health Minister who joins us, on the phone line right now. Mr. Nadda, the big question that we have to ask is, are the hospitals prepared for the grave numbers of injured who are going to arrive tonight? What is the government doing to prepare these hospitals better?
I had a talk with the Health Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Shri Siddharth Singh, and I have assured him all medical support from Government of India. A team of specialists is also ready with us. But Siddharth Singh has assured that all type of support they have, and they are working on it. And whenever they need the support, they will be taking from Government of India. I also had a talk with the Union Railway Minister Suresh Prabhuji, and I have assured him all medical support. Here in All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi also, we have kept doctors at standby in the casualty, and for the patients who will be coming from Muzaffarnagar, the serious patients will be taken care. So all types of support, the medical support, the medicine support, and the support of the doctors are in place.
Mr. Nadda, if I confirm what you just said, you said Mr. Siddharth Singh has said that they do not need the help of the union government right now.
They said that whenever the need will be there, they are working with their own resources and they are comfortable at the moment. All resources are put into action. But they have said that whenever I'm in constant touch with Siddharth Singh, whenever they will need, we are there to support them.
Are you confident that given the numbers that are on our screen right now of the kind of injured people in this accident, that the smaller hospitals in and around Meerut will be able to handle that kind of load, Mr. Nadda?
That is what the Health Minister of Uttar Pradesh has told. But we are there to support them. Whenever they need, we'll be there.
Do you have an official confirmation, Mr. Nadda, on how many people are injured right now and where what the status of the rescue operation is?
Not as.
Not as of now. Is there anything moving as of now from Delhi or from AIIMS towards Uttar Pradesh, or are you going to wait for a call from Mr. Siddharth Singh?
I'll be waiting for Siddharth Singh's call, in the sense that whatever they need, we'll be there to give.
All right, Mr. Nadda, thank you for joining us here on Mirror Now. That was Mr. J.P. Nadda, the Union Health Minister, joining us live on Mirror Now to tell us that the UP government and the Minister of Health for UP, Mr. Siddharth Singh, has expressed his confidence that UP has the ability to handle the problem right now and has not requested for additional support from the Union government or from Delhi. And the Union government now is on standby and waiting for a call from the UP government to release any additional support. I'm going to go back to Rifat Jawed. Rifat, the UP government is sounding very confident at this point.
That's a good news if they are feeling confident. I'm just, the death toll that you quoted, the ANI has flashed. I think if UP police has released that, what is happening in Indian trains, the Indian trains always carry, the passengers, more than its capacity. So, we don't know whether the 6 coaches which are submerged, are the coaches which are general compartment or whether they are the reserve compartment. Either way, I'm a bit concerned that, the death toll could go higher. Although we are praying that, the fatalities are, as low as possible. And the facilities at the local hospital, if Siddharth Singh says that he is confident that, to deal with that crisis of this magnitude, we need to trust him, and we hope that, that is the case. But again, it's a night time, a smaller town, the hospitals usually not equipped with the facilities to deal with the crisis of this magnitude, so we need to worry about it, but as well as we can only pray that, we are able to deal with this tragedy.
Singh, what information does the government have right now on those injured and the death toll? Because there are conflicting reports coming in from the UP police vis-a-vis the Indian Railways, and we still don't have a complete fix on the gravity of the accident at this point. Anila Singh, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. Please repeat what you asked me.
Yes. My question is, there were conflicting reports coming out of the UP police as well as the Indian Railways on the numbers right now in terms of injured. While the Indian Railways has it at about 65, the UP police put out a statement saying 400. Does the Indian government or do you have any more updated information on the gravity of the situation? Because that is a very wide range.
You are absolutely correct, Faye, but I think so we have to wait a little bit more to get the correct figures because all the government authorities and everybody is on the ground and they are taking, they are working on it, and I think so final figure of injured and those who died in this unfortunate accident, I think so it will take little time to get the final figures. Before that, I think so it won't be correct on my behalf to say anything about the figures.
Please stay with us because right now, like Mr. Nadda was telling us, the most important thing at this point is medical care. We have Dr. Sanjeev Mehta with us. Dr. Mehta, apparently the UP government is confident with its ability to handle the cases that will arrive at the hospitals tonight. Have not requested for help from either Delhi or the union government. Delhi is about, if I'm not mistaken, 100 odd kilometers from the site of the accident. Do you believe that these hospitals in smaller parts in or around Meerut will be able to handle this kind of trauma?
Yeah, first of all, Faye, a quick thing. It just shows from this story and the Gorakhpur story that you've been following that infrastructure in India is terrible. Two, it shows the rescue is pathetic. But to come back to your point, what you're making, I think I don't think it's a good decision. I think they should take help from Delhi. Delhi has so much infrastructure. 400 people they can accommodate in Delhi with ease. Having said that, I know Meerut has got 400 people can be handled in Meerut too. Meerut has a lot of infrastructure, but I hope they will involve the private hospitals because I doubt that the government hospitals have that much of an infrastructure or advanced care such as ventilators and all the other support, operation theaters. So I think they should involve private in a big way. They should take help from Delhi, including emergency ambulances, including maybe even helicopter evacuation, because clearly I think they are underestimating the problem. If you yet have 3 bogies to start prying open, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who are down there who are very sick. There'll be a lot of blood required. Small cities can't cope with it. They should involve a much larger support from as much possible from wherever they can get.
Right. Vinay Tewari, I'm going to come back to you on
because,
this.
As you said, time is of essence.
Time is of essence. Vinay Tewari, I'm going to come back to you on this. The fact that Dr. Sanjeev Mehta says time is of essence. You'll need blood. You'll need X-rays. You'll need a lot of you need a lot of medical assistance standing by when these people are rescued from the bogies that they're still cutting open as we speak. But UP and Mr. Siddharth Singh have expressed their confidence that they don't need help from Delhi. Is that bordering on arrogant, Vinay, at this point?
No, I'm not too sure if we can call this arrogance. I think what we need to understand in this case is that when you say send to help, it really means help of personnel. The help that can actually be sent, which is mobile, is the help of additional manpower. You really can't send infrastructure to that level. And this is the kind of a situation where you actually need physical infrastructure as well. You need operation theaters, you need surgical wards, you need you need that kind of stuff. And as Dr. Saab was saying very rightly, you need blood, which is really about volunteer support. And I think they probably feel that the number of personnel that they can requisition from in and around the district where it has happened would be enough. We don't know how foolhardy that would be, but I'm presuming they've done their maths and they know that the personnel that will be required to handle it will be adequate and enough. Remember, this particular area is surrounded by district headquarters. I mean, Muzaffarnagar is a district headquarter and so is Meerut. And in that sense, you would have medical colleges. There is a medical college in Meerut for sure. And you would have those district hospitals which perhaps would have some level of infrastructure support.
Right. And I just want to put this out to our viewers. There was a tweet from the UP police that said, the total number of injured was 400. That tweet has now been corrected to 40. Rifat Jawed, there was an extra zero added to that number. The UP police has put out the tweet again saying only 40 and not 400. That tweet was a mistake. 23 have been now confirmed dead in this accident. Rescue operations are still underway. We were just talking, in fact, some time ago to the DG of the NDRF that's actually looking after the rescue operations, who said that there are a couple of bogies that are still to be pried open. They're using gas cutters. They're cutting those bogies open. People are still trapped inside. It's very likely that this rescue operation will extend well into the night. To our viewers who just joined in, a derailment of train number 18477 at Khatauli. The train, other trains are being diverted. You have to remember that this will disrupt train travel for a large, a very important route. The Ghaziabad-Panipat Express is being moved. Several others. You can access the information from the Ministry of Railways on either their Twitter handle or their website, but a lot of trains are being disrupted right now. Mohammed Khan of the Congress joins us as well. Mohammed Khan, a very worrying evening for people in Uttar Pradesh.
How do you do, Mr. Souza? Yes, indeed. And this is one of those occasions when I think we should put politics aside. I see a representative of the BJP here on the panel. To her, I say this: the Congress stands ready to help you in whatever capacity you may require. We are going to be asking our volunteers to go to the site very shortly, and they shall be instructed to provide whatever assistance they can. I also think, Anila ji, that you guys should look at this and try and determine the reasons for this great calamity that took place. I'm sure you already are taking steps. I hope those are put out in the public domain. I hope you let us know what you plan on doing for the families of those who have been injured as well as those who have been killed. As a responsible and vigilant opposition, we stand watchful. We are there to help. Please, we hope that you perform your duty in this regard as best as you can.
Anila, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Khan, for your support, for your kind support. And definitely, I think so, this is the time when we all as an Indians, we should stand together. This is not the time to do any politics. We can't start telling statistics of our government, what our government is doing for railways or what UPA did. We are not going to debate on that. This is not the right time. Any other day can call us and then we can debate on it, but definitely this is very sad, very unfortunate. Even I am waiting for real cause to come out, that why this accident happened. But Faye, one thing is that since we got independent in 1947, the rail traffic has increased almost by 1700% times, but infrastructure just 25% time. So there is a huge gap in between the railway traffic and the infrastructure. So lots of work has to be done on this field, in which present government is indeed doing. And secondly, like railway safety is one big issue if we talk about accidental deaths on the railway tracks or the train accidents. Almost 15,000 people every year they die because of rail accidents. So keeping this in mind, the present government has made a railway safety fund, and they are investing around 20,000 crores of rupees from this fund in infrastructure as well. But still lots and lots has to be done so that such unfortunate accidents can be avoided. And if it is some sort of mischief done by terrorists or somebody else, then again it is very unfortunate and alarming, very, very alarming. And Shamli indeed is a small town, but the neighboring towns like Meerut and Muzaffarnagar, I'm sure that like Meerut, it has got very good health infrastructure. Meerut has good hospitals, medical colleges, private and government. I think they will be able to help the all the injured.
Dr. Mehta, you wanted to come in. Go ahead.
Yeah, Faye, I mean, it's great to have these senior people there. My question, which I would like to ask them is, Give me the number of ambulances that have moved to the site. Give me the number of blood bottles that have gone. Give us the number of blood collection camps that have been set up. The temporary operation theatres that will be required for such stitches. Thank you very much. We all know all the statistics, 1700% is all great. Tonight, this is the question that is going to affect the local people, along with all the other things, the kilos of medicines that are required, all the doctors, how many beds are made available, because that is going to save lives tonight. We can talk about infrastructure and all those things later. This is the important thing today.
Anila Singh, do you have any information to answer Dr. Mehta's questions?
You're absolutely right, Doctor. What you were, yes. See, I can't talk about ambulances and the temporary tents for the operation and all. I do not have knowledge about that right now, so I can't comment on it. But yes, one important thing, that is blood. Like Bharatiya Janata Party, in last fortnight, last 1 month, like there was a program by Bharatiya Janata Party for blood donation, and even I had gone to Shamli regarding that, and camps were, blood donations camps were organized, and the blood donation
what you're saying is
this will be
is good news in general, but I think what Dr. Mehta was referring to specifically is about any sort of movement.
बस समथिंग में सर अपनी जो हिसाब से जो भी व्यवस्था हो रही है उन्हें बताने की, जिसे जैसी हमें सूचना मिल रही है उन्हीं सूचना को हम उनको बता रहे हैं। कहाँ से आ रहे हैं ये तो सर एक्चुअली लोकल से नहीं, सारी जगह से ही आ रहे हैं। लोकल से तो कोई भी नहीं अभी तक ऐसा आया, बाकी सारी जगह से आ रहे हैं। स्नान के लिए आ रहे हैं सर, हाँ वही ज्यादातर अक्सर करें स्नान के लिए जो पैसेंजर थे भीड़ से उसकी लगा। नंबर बता दीजिए। ये सर हेल्पलाइन नंबर ये लिखे हुए हैं सर, 4 नंबर है सर हेल्पलाइन। अपना नाम बता दीजिए सर। मेरा नाम रोहित मीना है। रोहित मीना। यहाँ मैं हेड टीटी की पोस्ट पर हूँ सर।
So one of the help centers right now that's been set up in Uttar Pradesh. For our viewers who've just tuned in, the death toll right now is at 23, with 40 people injured as the train has been derailed. A train has been derailed right now. 65 we know for sure have arrived at Khatauli hospital. 14 bogies of that train went off the rails. 6 of those bogies have capsized. In the visuals that we were looking at a little earlier, it was obvious that bogies had actually climbed on top of each other, and people are still trapped inside those bogies. Rescue operations are likely to continue through the night. We also understand, I'll go to Rifat Jawed. Rifat, the UP Health Minister, Mr. Siddharth Singh, having told the Union Minister that he doesn't need help from Delhi right now, that the state of UP is confident that it will be able to handle whatever arrives at its hospitals at this point.
I would like to believe him that if he's confident, you know, and it's a good news for the passengers. But before I came on the show, I was speaking to a few reporters on the ground, and then subsequently I saw the visuals. It's an utter chaos out there. It's a complete pandemonium. You know, one reporter told me that, you know, one of his colleagues, it was so dire, the situation was so dire that one of his colleagues, who was a camera person, was using the flashlight of the camera, you know, for the rescue personnel to actually, you know, make their way through inside the coaches. That's how dire. So I think it's I don't know what gives him that confidence, because, you know, the Nagar being so close to Delhi, you know, it wouldn't have taken long for, you know, the Delhi people to respond to that. But having said that, you know, do we have the effective disaster management system? And the answer is in negative. We don't have that. You know, do we have the? Dr. Mehta rightly said that, you know, we should have deployed the helicopter. Do we have the enough helicopter ambulance, you know, to respond to in a situation like this? I don't think we have that. So therefore we are relying on the local population to come and use the torch, and the, you know, journalists to use the flashlight of the camera, you know, in order for us to get the victims out. And that's what, the longer it continues, I'm afraid, you know, the fatalities will go significantly higher.
And that's the worrying thing, Dr. Mehta, and I'll ask Anil. Yes, Dr. Mehta, the longer these people stay trapped inside those train bogies, the more dangerous it is, the less likely we are to be able to save them, isn't it?
Exactly. And, you know, I was just doing a quick calculation in my head. If you have 14 bogies that are down and there are about 72, maybe more people per bogie, I would expect between 1,000 to 1,500 people who've been affected. I really think the numbers are going to go up. And so really we are probably underestimating the extent of the problem. You rightly said, and we've discussed this, if somebody is inside and bleeding, he's going to require resuscitation very early. Your person on the ground very rightly said, no electricity, so there's a lot of mobilization. It should be warlike. I think there's a lot of army out there who can bring in a lot of resources. You can't let them be overnight. So everything from medical to support service to lights to tractor, you know, the heavy equipment, everything is required, and I think the time is going very, very quickly for those people who are trapped in those bogies. I think we are underestimating the whole thing.
The whole thing. I'm going to go.
The army. Sorry,
yes.
I mean, Doctor, just to add to what Dr. Mehta said, I think the deploying the army would have been, you know, sort of really crucial and very, very helpful. And Meerut cantonment is not that far. It's only, you know, like a couple of dozens of kilometers away from there. So I hope that somebody may have, you know, the idea may have occurred to them and they would have, you know, sort of sought the army's support, which is not that far from the area where the accident has taken place.
If Vinay Tewari is still with us, Vinay, do you think that that suggestion that Dr. Mehta just made and Rifat Jawed seconded, that you know, the cantonment in Meerut should have been mobilized, the army would have been, if not anything else, to crowd control the thousands of villagers who have gathered on either side of the accident site at this point, might have been helpful?
No, yes, I mean, there is no doubt about that it would have been helpful. But the honest truth is that in any civilian disaster relief operation, especially in a train accident, all these issues unfortunately become more about optics and less about actually effectiveness on the ground. And by optics, I mean the very, you know, by using the army in a situation like this is almost an admission of the civil administration to have failed. And this is one of the reasons why you will see there is always a resistance by the civil administration in most areas to not requisition the army, even though they may be available close by. This was also there was also another debate for many years on why India needs a separate disaster relief force. And that is perhaps what led to the creation of NDRF, which now responds and becomes the first responder to any such crisis like this, including floods and other natural disasters, and of course man-made disasters like train accidents. So I think that the problem about summoning the army is more about the optics and less about the need to understand that you really need to rush all kinds of help to save human lives, which is of critical importance. The optics is not really an issue in this case.
Well, Anila Singh, I know Anila Singh has to leave. A quick question for you, Anila Singh. We do want to take comfort in the fact that Mr. Siddharth Singh, who is the Health Minister of Uttar Pradesh, is confident that he can handle this entire situation on his own. But like has been happening for the rest of the week gone by, the doctors on the panel, and in this case Dr. Mehta, feels perhaps he should have asked for help.
Faye, I'll mention two things here. Number one, Mr. Siddharth Singh is definitely going to take help from Delhi if required so, because Shamli is almost, it is an adjoining city to Delhi, very, very near to Delhi. So if requirement will be there, he will be asking from it. There is absolutely no doubts about that. And secondly, like I was listening to Mr. Jawed and he was telling about the quality of healthcare in India, I'll talk about. Yes, indeed, he's absolutely right. If we talk about HAQ, Dr. Mehta must be understanding it. When we talk about HAQ, India is even behind Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, you know, Bhutan, such countries. So we have to work and we have to do a lot in the healthcare system, which had been a very neglected sector. So I am not going to be very aggressive on this part because today is not the time. But yes, lots of work has to be done on the health sector as well as on the railway infrastructure as well.
So yes, while we're talking about railway infrastructure and health, and fixing both of those things will be a long-term plan, as agreed by everyone on the panel. I think the concern here, Anila, is with emergency response, and emergency response that we can perhaps still overnight perhaps improve at this point. Is there any statement that you have with you from the Uttar Pradesh government right now on what is specifically being done for emergency response on the ground?
Yes, as I told you, Faye, that whole of the government machinery of Shamli and adjoining districts, everybody is there helping out. Everybody is doing its own work. Whether doctors are there, then administrative machinery is there. Everybody is doing its own part. They are playing their own part. So, but yes, indeed, I think so. We really have to work that how we can tackle such critical and emergency situations. I think so. India has to work on that too as well.
All right, let me just give our viewers all of the latest information that we have. The Utkal Express is derailed. From what we understand, 14 bogies have gone off the rails, of which 6 have capsized. 65 injured have already arrived at Khatauli Hospital. 11 bodies have been recovered so far, although the death toll being reported is 23. 11 of those bodies are at Khatauli Hospital right now. The UP police confirming now 23 dead and 40 injured, not 400 as was reported earlier, but 40 injured. This is train number 18477. 18477. Rescue operations are likely to continue through the night. As you can see on your screen, gas cutters are being used to actually pry open bogies and free people or rescue people, most of whom are very likely to need medical attention. Mr. Sunil Kumar Singh, the ADM of Muzaffarnagar, joins me on the phone line. Mr. Singh, thank you for joining us. क्या आप बता सकते हैं अभी कि confirmed injured और death toll का number क्या है?
हाँ, डेथ की जो रिपोर्टेड है बाय सीएमओ ये 11 है, और इसके अलावा इंजर्ड जो है 37 तो यहाँ पर डिस्ट्रिक्ट हॉस्पिटल में है, कुछ रेफर कर दिए गए हैं मेरठ के लिए यहाँ से, और कुछ वहाँ सीएससी खतौली जहाँ पर ये इंसिडेंट हुआ है वहाँ पर एडमिट किए गए हैं। तो 60 प्लस इंजर्ड है और 11 डेथ कंफर्म है
जी। और आप किस अस्पताल में हैं अभी?
नहीं, मैं यहाँ कंट्रोल रूम में हूँ।
आप कंट्रोल रूम में?
जी जी।
और क्या आपको लगता है कि जितने सारे अस्पताल है मुजफ्फरनगर और मेरठ में, उनको मदद चाहिए दिल्ली की, या वो अभी मैनेज कर पाए?
नहीं, वो तो देखिए जितनी भी एम्बुलेंसेज है, मोर देन आई थिंक लगभग 50 के आसपास एम्बुलेंसेज भी इस पूरे ऑपरेशन में लगी हुई, 50 से ज्यादा भी होंगी, और जितनी हेल्प हम लोग कर सकते हैं मेडिकल हेल्प, उसको उतनी कोशिश की जा रही कि जल्दी से जल्दी मेडिकल हेल्प मिले। और उसके लिए डॉक्टर्स की टीम है, यहाँ पर एक प्राइवेट मेडिकल कॉलेज है, वहाँ पर भी पूरी अलर्टनेस, वहाँ पर भी जा रहे हैं। तो कहीं पर ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई अनअटेंडेड हो। यहाँ पर जो भी एम्बुलेंस है या किसी भी माध्यम से पहुंच रहे हैं एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ही, क्योंकि जब भी एक्सीडेंट हुआ है तुरंत हमारे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की सारी टीमें लग गई रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन के लिए। तो अब कोशिश यही चल रही है और प्रयास हम लोग कर रहे हैं, और जो यात्री सुरक्षित बचे हुए हैं उनको बसेस से, हमारी 27 बसेस से हमने उनको हरिद्वार और ऋषिकेश के लिए और कुछ को मेरठ के लिए रवाना कर दिया सुरक्षित रूप से।
ठीक, और क्या आप अभी बता सकते हैं कि कितने बोगीज में अभी भी पैसेंजर्स ट्रैप्ड है?
नहीं, अब ये तो देखिए एक बड़ा काम है कि इसमें पूरा अभियान एक चलाना पड़ता है। जहाँ तक मेरी जानकारी है, क्योंकि मैं अभी मौके पर नहीं हूँ, 1 या 2 बोगी अभी भी शायद रह रही है, जैसा कि टेलीफोनिकली इंफॉर्मेशन मिली है, लेकिन ये कंफर्म इंफॉर्मेशन मेरे पास नहीं है क्योंकि मैं मौके पर नहीं हूँ।
ठीक, और सुनील कुमार जी, क्या आप बता सकते हैं कि अभी जो अब मुजफ्फरनगर और मेरठ की जो अस्पताल है, कसौली की अस्पताल है, क्या वहाँ पे कटौली के अस्पताल में ब्लड की ज़रूरत है, एक्सरे की ज़रूरत है, कि नर्सेज की कोई कमी पड़ रही है?
हाँ, नहीं, ऐसी अभी कोई कमी रिपोर्ट नहीं की गई है। सभी जगह से प्राइवेट डॉक्टर्स वगैरह को भी उनसे भी रिक्वेस्ट किया गया है कि ये बहुत बड़ी समस्या आई हुई है, कठिनाई, एक दिक्कत आई हो, तो इसमें सब लोग ह्यूमैनिटेरियन ग्राउंड पर भी आगे आकर के अपनी मदद दे। तो अभी तक कहीं से भी ऐसी रिपोर्टिंग नहीं हुई है कि किसी भी चीज की कोई कमी बताई जा रही है।
Vinay Tewari, do you have any questions for Sunil Kumar Singh? He's the additional district magistrate of Muzaffarnagar. Vinay, can you hear me?
हेलो हेलो
हाँ जी जी बताएं।
जी सिंह साहब, तो इस कंट्रोल रूम में जो भी आपको जानकारी मिल रही है उसके मुताबिक क्या आपको नहीं लगता कि खून की जरूरत ऐसी हादसों में काफी होती है और उसके लिए अभी से कोई वॉलंटियर अपील या कोई अरेंजमेंट, क्योंकि डॉक्टर्स को तो आपने बुला लिया है लेकिन खून बॉटल्स की जरूरत पड़ेगी, आपको यूनिट्स चाहिए होंगे खून के लिए, वो आपके पास एडिक्वेट होंगे खतौली में या मेरठ डिवीजन हेडक्वार्टर्स में?
क्योंकि देखिए मेरठ बड़ा सेंटर है, वहाँ पर बहुत बड़ा मेडिकल कॉलेज है, हॉस्पिटल है, तो जो इस तरीके के अगर लगता कोई सीरियस नेचर का कोई पेशेंट है हमारा या एक्सीडेंट में ज्यादा सीरियस इंजर्ड हुआ है, तो उन सबको मेरठ ही एम्बुलेंस लाइफ सपोर्टिंग जो एम्बुलेंस व्हीकल्स हैं हमारी उसके माध्यम से उनको मेरठ भी भेजा जा रहा है। और जो उस जिनको हम यहाँ ट्रीट कर सकते हैं उनको जिला अस्पताल में और CHC में जो कम्युनिटी हेल्थ सेंटर होता है वहाँ पर उनको ट्रीटमेंट किया जा रहा है। नो डाउट आपकी बात अपनी जगह सही हो सकती है, लेकिन ऐसी कोई अभी तक डिमांड हॉस्पिटल्स वगैरह से नहीं आई है। यहाँ पर ये भी बताना चाहूँगा कि जितने भी सामाजिक संगठन हैं वो सभी सहयोग के लिए खड़े हुए हैं और ब्लड और किसी भी चीज़ के लिए आवश्यकता के लिए उन लोगों की तरफ से भी ये मांग आ रही है कि अगर जरूरत होगी तो हम लोग तैयार हैं, हम लोग ब्लड देने के लिए, डोनेट करने के लिए तैयार हैं।
तो आपको कंट्रोल रूम में बैठने की वजह से सिंह साहब कोई ऐसी चीज की जरूरत आपको क्या लगता है भी सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत किस आप चीज की है?
नहीं देखिए मैं इसीलिए कि अगर कोऑर्डिनेट करने के लिए ही यहाँ पर बैठा हुआ हूँ, वहाँ पर साइड पर डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट साहब, SSP साहब और अदर ऑफिसर्स हैं, सीनियर ऑफिसर्स हैं, मेरे इक्विवेलेंट ऑफिसर्स भी हैं। बट अगर मैं कोऑर्डिनेट करने के लिए बैठा हूँ, रेलवे से भी बात कर रहा हूँ, रोडवेज से भी बात कर रहा हूँ कि जितने लोग सुरक्षित, कितने लोगों को हम सुरक्षित यहाँ से निकाल सकते हैं, कितने लोग सुरक्षित कहाँ भेजा जा सकता है, वो सारी कोऑर्डिनेशन भी कर रहे हैं। और जैसी अगर आवश्यकता होगी तो उसको उसी हिसाब से हम लोग पूरा करेंगे। बट एज ऑफ नाउ कोई ऐसी दिक्कत अभी हमारे सामने नहीं है, कोई ऐसी कमी नहीं रिपोर्ट की गई है।
जी
राइट। सिंह साहब, क्या आप बता सकते हैं कि अभी जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन, जो तहकीकात हो रही है सैबोटाज के बारे में, उस ATS टीम पहुंच गई वहां पे मौके पे?
वो टेक्निकल इशू है मैडम, उस पर अभी हम कोई कमेंट नहीं कर सकते। हम लोग एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के हैं, टेक्निकल इशू पर कोई कमेंट नहीं कर सकते। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you. All right, that was Sunil Kumar Singh, the additional district magistrate of Muzaffarnagar, who was talking about the rescue operations. The visuals you're looking at on your screen, viewers, are visuals coming in right now of the rescue operations. We understand that 44 personnel of the NDRF, as you can see, walking past that area, looking for survivors. 2 canines looking for survivors among, at the accident site or among the rubble right now. Several challenges on the ground. The fact that it is after dark, there won't be electricity. They are going to have to figure out generators. Dr. Mehta, we just heard, Mr. Singh talk about how he said the hospitals are self-sufficient at this point. They have not put out a call for blood. They have, though, put out a call for doctors to volunteer from private hospitals. Do you believe that, do you still believe that they're underestimating the situation, perhaps?
Hearing the previous speaker, I felt good. From whatever I can, from my past experience, this looks like the best response there is, and I have to compliment them. But I think a lot more needs to be done. I would like to see a call go out for blood. In the pub. Again, sitting far away in Mumbai, we don't know what's happening on the ground. I think they need more ambulances. They'll need more blood. Seems to be better than before. I think your channel and the amount of the pressure that your channel has built up, we're beginning to see some better responses than before.
Right. I just want to quickly go across to our reporter Milan, who's standing by in Delhi, because like I pointed out earlier, this particular accident is going to disrupt train travel across North India. Milan has a list of the trains that will be disrupted for our viewers who are interested in that information. We now understand that people are still trapped in about 2 bogies. Milan is standing by. Milan, could you tell us what sort of disruption can passengers expect tonight on other trains?
Yes, certain routes are affected at this point, and the Northern Railways has released a list of trains that are affected right now. Delhi, Dehradun, Jan Shatabdi Express, Amritsar, New Delhi, Jalandhar Shalimar Express going from Saharanpur to Jammu, Golden Temple Mail, Chhattisgarh Express from Bilaspur to Amritsar, Nanda Devi Express, Dehradun Shatabdi, and Yoga Express Haridwar to Ahmedabad, Nauchandi Express from Saharanpur to Allahabad, even Dehradun Mumbai Bandra Terminus Express. So almost 10 trains currently affected, and some of them have also been diverted to different routes at this point of time.
All right, Milan, many thanks for joining us. We're also picking up information that Amit Shah, the president of the BJP, has said he has asked for the BJP Muzaffarnagar unit to join the rescue operation and help people in need. That information has just come out as well. So while there are several people, and we also understand from Mohammad Khan that the Congress party has asked for their local workers to also go to the location and help in any way. Like Vinay was pointing out, there is a need to control the crowd at the location. There is a need to make sure that people are not in the way of rescue operators, that people are not in the way of emergency services. Rifat, that's again something that, is going to need to be looked at. But from what we hear and what we understand, it seems like the UP police and the NDRF have this under control.
I hope so, and if that is true, then it's indeed a good news, because at the end of the day we'll have to ensure that the fatalities are kept to minimum, and we can rescue as many passengers as possible in a timeliness manner. Okay, I mean Amit Shah and Congress party sending their volunteers to join the rescue operation is a good thing, but I think they need to be they can't just go there. They have to wait for the direction or from the NDRF team, because they are the experienced team, and I still think that we should have actually sought the army's help if it's within your reach. It's not that far. Having said that, the fare is too early. We will only come to know about the magnitude of the disaster by tomorrow morning, and depending upon how well we have responded to it, we'll then have to debate as to what needs to be done going forward, and where are the the areas of improvement that we need to work on. One of the things that we have always, and I have talked about it on international channel as well, is that we haven't actually paid much attention to the safety of tracks. The safety of tracks is absolutely crucial for two reasons. One, it's overworked. 40% of our Indian tracks are beyond capacity because of the increased traffic, and we haven't done enough to create more room or create more tracks. Second thing, often we talked about the sabotage. What are we doing to prevent sabotage? We haven't learned. We haven't actually gone to the countries which have made their tracks absolutely foolproof, so that there is no question of sabotage there. So we live in a global village, and these are the collaborations our government have to seek from the countries who have actually established or implemented the better facilities in terms of making sure that there is no element of sabotage that can take place on their tracks.
Absolutely, and of course, like to point out to our viewers, the visuals that you're looking at on your screen is of the NDRF team looking for survivors, perhaps in the rubble. It's been several hours since this accident took place at 5:45 this evening. At 5:45 is when the accident took place, and given that Ghaziabad and Delhi are about 2.5 to 3 hours away, the NDRF teams that were moved then have arrived now. Those canines you're looking at, 2 canines and 44 members of the NDRF team, plus the UP police, plus 50 odd ambulances are being used right now to remove people from that accident site and from those train bogies. We also understand from the additional district magistrate of Muzaffarnagar that the people who are not injured are being moved by bus to the nearest train station so they can make their way home or make their way to their destinations that they were travelling to. Those injured have been moved to Khatauli Hospital, Meerut and Muzaffarnagar, the hospitals in and around that area. The questions that our panels are asking right now, why hasn't a call gone out for blood? A call has gone out, though. We heard from the UP government for doctors from private hospitals to come in and lend a hand. If Vinay Tewari is still with us, Vinay, the UP government sounding extremely confident. Every voice we hear from the ground is sounding very confident about the fact that they have the situation under control. Does that, sort of give you some confidence as well?
Well, I just hope that this confidence is actually not bravado, because I think there's a thin dividing line between confidence and bravado only for the optics of people not panicking. But it's a good sign. If the administration sounds confident, it's always a good sign. It's better to have a confident sounding administration than a panicky administration, because that can actually make the situation of rescue relief worse than what it is. And in this case, it does seem that the administration has it's on the location, it's on the spot. I mean, you do have a functioning control room, which, to be honest, is not very often that you see in India. A functioning control room, you do seem to have senior officers at the location, and there seems to be the central teams in terms of NDRF seem to have reached the spot and they've started their operations. So it does seem to be a little in control. But I think we must also keep in mind that I hope the UP government has an open mind in asking for help and not making it into an ego issue. Because remember, there is not even a political problem here. You have the same government, the same party ruling both the center and the state. It's not as if another party is asking for help from the center. I mean, if it's required, I think they should ask for it. So it's available at a very short notice and at a very short distance from the site.
Right, and Vinay, I just want to point out right now to the visual that we're looking at on our screen, there is a train bogie that has crisscrossed over another train bogie and it has rammed into a wall adjoining the railway track. This, like you pointed out, when we're talking about train safety, when we're talking about modernizing our trains, this sort of drastic accident could have been avoided if our trains were more modern, updated.
Yes, and Faye, this is exactly the point that we were making. In the 2015-16 budget, for the first time, the Indian government has now allocated money for manufacturing what is called the LHB carriages, which are the Link Hoffmann Busch carriages, which is a German company which manufactures coaches. And now the Integral Coach Factory and the Railways RCF in Kapurthala have now started manufacturing, and only about 1,000 such coaches have been made. And those coaches are designed in a way that, one, they don't climb over each other at high speeds, and two, even if they do, the bogie is designed in a way that the cutting open of the bogie, as well as the mangling of the metal that is part of it, is less than what you have in a regular coach that is used in India in almost 95% of the trains. And all of these are the real safety measures that should have been in place in the Indian Railways. Things like anti-collision devices that were supposed to have been installed. Remember, Faye, the railway safety cess is being charged from the Indian passenger for the last decade or so. Less than a decade, but almost 7-8 years now, the Indian passengers have been paying a so-called rail safety cess. And that cess, frankly, nobody has a clue where that is going, because all this is supposed to have come from those cesses. Rifat was pointing out, say, about the tension in the railway tracks. I mean, the fatigue in the railway tracks, as they call it in railway parlance, is extremely high in Indian Railways. I mean, you have tracks almost 50 years old in many stretches, which are extremely dangerous to run on.
Absolutely, and in this, the entire system, there is a fair amount of intelligence in this country, and a lot of reports about how the signaling systems, the systems that signal to trains about the fact that there are obstructions on the tracks, that the brakes need to be applied, are modernized across the world, but somehow we're far behind the curve in India. To give our viewers a update coming in right now at 10 p.m, 90 ambulances have been pressed into duty, 4 NDRF teams. So far, we have 23 dead, 80 injured in this rail accident that has taken place, the UP train derailment that has happened at Muzaffarnagar. Mohammed Khan, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. D'Souza, I want to say this. I think the tone and tenor of the debate has been so far to try and elicit and understand the degree and sufficiency of the response by the state government authorities, whether it's been adequate or not. And I think to a great extent, a lot of the questions that were asked were answered by the ADM of Muzaffarnagar. However, there are two things that still bother me. The first is, despite, as you pointed out, this happened at 5:45 and we are still no closer to discovering the cause for it. We are speculating, we are coming up with hypothetical causes, but it's essential that the government is able to identify first and foremost what caused this accident. I think the ADM did not give us a sufficient answer on that. He answered the other questions very well, but not this. The second thing, and this I think is crucial, we are not able to determine how many people are still trapped. You asked him that. You asked him how many people are still trapped inside, and he did not provide an answer to that. I think that is also very worrisome. I hope that, I'm sure that as time passes and this investigation progresses, it will shed more light on the subject. But until then, these are two very worrying questions that need to be answered. And I think We'll know the answers to these by tomorrow. In the meantime, I guess we will watch, we will wait and watch and hope that we can offer whatever service we can.
Right, and Rifat, you know, I had asked our Lucknow bureau chief a little while ago if we knew how many people were on the train altogether, and he said we don't have a fix on that number right now because obviously people travel unreserved. There are general compartments. This is going to be a challenge for the administration that's currently doing the rescue work to not have a conclusive list of the number of people who are on board or the number of people who are in each bogie to actually be able to checkbox how many they have found, how many are safe, how many injured, and how many more they should be looking for.
Look, I mean, I'm sure you may have traveled in train, and we always do. We know that, you know, even if it's a reserved coach, whose capacity is usually 72 passengers per coach, you know, seldom do you think that, you know, sort of you have only 72 passengers travelling in India. You know, and at a time when the train happened, that's when, you know, sort of you have a lot of other non-reserved passengers as well travelling in the coach. If that is the case, you know, ADM just said that the two coaches are still submerged. The accident took place at about 5:45. We are now at 10 o'clock. You know, for 4 hours, if the two coaches are still submerged, we are talking about, you know, 100 plus odd passengers in per coach. You know, although I would like to believe that, you know, the administrations that they have situation under control, but the numbers when you add up, you know, it suddenly looks very frightening, and that's why I'm saying, you know, let's wait until tomorrow and see. You know, let's hope for the best.
I'm also told that we have Chief Medical Officer Mr. P.S. Mishra of Muzaffarnagar on the phone line right now. Mr. Mishra, thank you so much for joining us. Would you be able to give us an indication of the kind of injured people who have arrived at hospitals right now and the number that have been rescued from the train?
The total injured are about 80.
Okay. And would you say, Mr. Mishra, that the hospitals are prepared to handle this kind of these numbers of people arriving at whether Muzaffarnagar, Meerut?
Hello. Hello.
मिश्रा जी, अगर मेरी आवाज़ आप तक पहुंच रही है, क्या आप हमें बता सकते हैं कि मुजफ्फरनगर और कटौली के जो अस्पतालें हैं जिसमें अभी इंजर्ड पहुंचा दिए गए, क्या वो ये लोड को हैंडल कर पा रहे हैं अभी?
हाँ, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। मरीज सारे स्टेबल है हमारे। They all are stable now.
They are all stable. और आपको क्या खून की या कुछ दूसरी मेडिकल फैसिलिटी, मेडिकल इक्विपमेंट की कमी नहीं पड़ रही है?
नहीं, we have got all the equipment and everything.
और अभी डेथ टोल का कोई कॉन्फर्मेशन है मिश्रा जी?
15 का कॉन्फर्मेशन है, 15 का।
15 का, जी। और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन में क्या ये पता है कि कितने लोग अभी भी ट्रेन के अंदर फंसे हुए हैं?
नहीं, ट्रेन के अंदर कोई लाइव तो नहीं, अभी डेड बॉडी 2-4 मिल सकती है।
अच्छा, तो कंफर्म है कि ट्रेन के अंदर अभी कोई लाइव नहीं मिलेगी, डेड बॉडी मिल सकती है। और कितने फियर डेड है अभी?
पता नहीं, 15 डेड है।
हाँ, लेकिन आपका कहना है कि ट्रेन के अंदर से शायद और डेड बॉडीज मिले?
2-4 मिल सकती है, 2-4
और 2-4 मिल सकते हैं।
2-4
तो अभी तो फिर रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन आपके कहने से रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन खत्म हो चुकी है आज रात की?
करीब लास्ट स्टेज पे है।
लास्ट स्टेज पे है, ठीक है। Mishra ji, thank you for joining us. P.S. Mishra, Chief Medical Officer, Muzaffarnagar, joining us there. Vinay Tewari, if you're still with us, a confirmation there that the rescue operation is at its last stage, that it is unlikely that any more injured or people alive will be rescued from that train. They're only now perhaps expecting to recover 1 or 2 or maybe 4 dead bodies. Vinay?
Yes, I know the CMO has said so, Faye, but I would really wait for the NDRF to confirm what Mr. Mishra has just said. I mean, as I said, this is a classic Indian problem of various authorities, sometimes the left hand not knowing what the right is doing. And the CMO, I'm presuming, is looking after the hospital. And I'm not sure on what basis is he confirming that the rescue operation is nearly over. Because if you remember correctly, just an hour back, the NDRF chief said that 2 bogies are yet to be cut open. And cutting open a bogie is not a small or a very hastening process. I mean, it takes a little time to do that. And I'm not too sure if that is absolutely the right version, frankly. I mean, so I think we should wait for the NDRF or our reporters at the spot to really confirm whether the rescue has been now declared over, and only the dead bodies seem to have been are supposed to be recovered, and the rest of the people have been actually taken out. And I think we should wait for that.
Right, and the other thing that seemed, a little surprising, and I'll go to Dr. Sanjeev Mehta with this. Dr. Mehta, 90 ambulances pressed into, Dr. Mehta's 90 ambulances pressed into duty. We so far have 65 injured, perhaps more. But the medical officer, the chief medical officer, they're sounding very confident that all his patients were stable. And no more, it's unlikely that no more injured people will be rescued from that train. What's your reaction to that information?
Faye, I yet think that's an understatement.
और इस तरह से घटना को इफेक्टिवली अंजाम दिया, जो ऑपरेशन है उसको इफेक्टिवली अंजाम दिया जा रहा है।
सर, कितने लोगों को निकाला गया है? कुछ जानकारी आपके पास, कितने लोगों को निकाला गया, कितने जो घायल है, कितने शवों को निकाला गया, कोई प्रिलिमिनरी जानकारी आपको अभी तक इन्फॉर्मेशन जो ग्राउंड रिपोर्ट आपको मिली है?
जो पिछली सूचना के अनुसार कम से कम 60 घायल व्यक्तियों को निकाला गया है और ऑपरेशन जारी है। इसमें और जो व्यक्ति घायल निकलते हैं उनको हम चिकित्सा सहायता पहुंचा करके और अस्पताल भेजेंगे, ताकि उनके जो स्पेशलिस्ट अटेंडेंस है तो उनको स्पेशलिस्ट अटेंड करें और उनकी प्रॉपर चिकित्सा हो सके।
सर, आपने कई ऑपरेशन इस तरीके के देखे होंगे, इस ऑपरेशन के लिए किस तरीके से आप प्रिपेयर्ड हैं और आप जा रहे हैं, क्या आपकी तैयारी है, क्या आप जो है प्लान करके जा रहे हैं, किस तरीके से टीम्स को आपने मोटिवेट करेंगे?
जी हाँ, हमने 4 टीमें जो वहाँ भेजी हैं उनके ऑपरेशन को भी मॉनिटर करेंगे और अगर आवश्यकता हुई तो और भी टीम भेजेंगे, इसलिए मैं स्वयं वहाँ पर जा रहा हूँ। और वैसे तो टीमें हमारी पूरी तरह से इक्विप्ड हैं, वो जब तक ये पूरा ऑपरेशन समाप्त नहीं होता तब तक हमारा ये काम जारी रहेगा और हमारा प्रयास रहेगा कि शीघ्रातिशीघ्र जितने भी व्यक्ति ट्रैप्ड हैं उनको निकाला जाए और उन्हें जो भी सहायता चाहिए उपलब्ध करवाई जाए।
सर, क्या ज्यादातर परेशानियां अब तक, क्योंकि काफी देर हो गई है एनडीआरएफ की टीम को पहुंचे हुए भी, आपको कुछ रिपोर्ट मिली होंगी, परेशानियां किस तरीके की हैं रेस्क्यू करने में, क्या क्या जो है चैलेंजेस हैं रेस्क्यू करने के लिए?
निश्चित रूप से बड़ी दुर्घटना है और वहां पर स्थानीय व्यक्ति और बहुत सारे अन्य लोग भी इकट्ठे होते हैं, लेकिन इस तरह की घटना में हम प्रशासन की मदद से, पुलिस की मदद से और जो स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, रेलवे अधिकारी हैं, अन्य स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, उनकी मदद से, कोऑर्डिनेशन से हम इस ऑपरेशन को स्मूथली अंजाम देंगे, मेरा ये विश्वास है। पूछ लीजिए।
Sir, how many teams have been deployed by the NDRF at the accident site, and how much they are equipped to deal with these kind of rescue operations?
As soon as we came to know about the incident, we rushed 2 of our teams. 2 teams were rushed later on, and they are about to reach. 2 teams have already reached. I am also on way to monitor the situation. These teams are equipped to carry out the operation during night time also. They are equipped with the lighting arrangements, cutting instruments, and they have a canine squad with them which can sniff the lives if trapped in the ill-fated bogies.
So how many extra teams would you be adding to it if you feel that more personnel should be added to that number, sir?
So far, as we have gathered the information from the spot and the administration, these 4 teams should be sufficient over there. I am also visiting the spot, and if more teams are required, we'll rush it to the spot.
So the 2 teams have already reached the spot. So what is the ground report they have given to you? How many lives have been taken away in this incident, and how many passengers are injured and have been rescued by the NDRF and by the local administrations?
About 60 to 70 injured persons have been rescued from the ill-fated bogies, and the operation is still continuing. If more injured are there, we'll definitely take proper action and rush them to the hospital so that they get proper treatment.
So have you recovered any dead bodies also, sir? Have NDRF recovered any dead bodies also?
I think about 20 dead bodies have been recovered so far, and we are trying to cut open the other bogies. The injured persons are being taken to the hospital. Primary medical aid is given to them at the spot, and for a specialized treatment, they are carried in ambulance to the hospitals. Thank you.
Well, that was the head of the NDRF confirming that the rescue operations, that was Sanjay Kumar, the DG of the NDRF, the disaster relief, that goes confirming the rescue operation was still underway, that teams have moved to Muzaffarnagar, where on your screen you're looking at the visuals that are coming in right now of that train derailment, 14 bogies going off the rails, 6 of which have capsized, which means they have tilted or they're completely off the rails. We understand now at the last count, 23 dead and about 80 injured. Those injured have been moved to hospitals close by. A lot of them are at Khatauli hospital. The UP government and the UP administration sounding very confident that they're able to manage what is happening on the ground right now in terms of medical care and emergency response to the people who are going to need help. Those who are not injured have been moved by bus to the nearest train station where they can carry on their journeys to their destinations. Visuals coming in of relief operations, and this is also sort of an acid test for the healthcare in Uttar Pradesh as well. We understand that private doctors have been called in to volunteer. Public service health professionals have had all of their leave cancelled. They will all be functioning, working through the night and right through the weekend, and perhaps after that as well, to make sure people are given enough, enough help. I'm just going to go back to Dr. Sanjeev Mehta, who's with us. Dr. Mehta, I'll give you the last word as the medical expert on this panel right now. What are your key concerns? And what advice would you have, for anyone within the administration who's running this operation?
Yeah, based on what you hear, this seems to be the best rescue operation we have seen. But I only hope that tomorrow when we are on the panel, we hope what they have said is true. That being said, I would have liked to see more lights. I would have seen more gas cutters, more blood, oxygen, support facilities. I'm really glad they're doing all the right things. If you ask the administration, they are getting all these things. I just hope we're not too late when they open the next bogie. And tomorrow will be, we will know better whether everything that they've said is actually true. So we hope for the best for the sake of the poor people trapped. And I think lessons have been learned.
Right, so, and Rifat Jawed, like Vinay Tewari quite rightly pointed out, the CMO might have been very quick to say that the rescue operation is done and we're not going to find any more people, because we just heard the NDRF chief tell us that the teams are still on the ground, that they're still looking, that they're still working.
Absolutely, and I would be inclined to go with Vinay's assessment, because you see, if you look at the tone of the CMO, and the flippancy, I'm sorry, it wasn't very reassuring, because he said, somebody, when you asked that, how many more dead bodies do you sort of anticipate, and he said 3-4 और होंगे. I mean, how can he say that 3-4 और dead bodies उससे होंगे? So that's, that shows that, he's just making a flippant statement, and I would go with the NDRF chief, who said that, there are still 2 bodies which are, the people are trapped there. My only worry is, as much as I would like to hope that, the fatalities are kept to minimum, my only worry is that, the time is running out for all those people who are still trapped in the 2 coaches, because it's been more than 4 hours since the accident has happened. They are, and the 2 coaches are submerged, and we are looking at about conservatively also we are looking at around 100 passengers per coach, and it's been for more than 4 hours. So, just we can only pray for those people who are still trapped there.
Yes, that is true. Vinay Tewari, confirmation there from the NDRF that 2 bogies are still to be cut open, which means, like Rifat said, at least 200 people perhaps still trapped inside.
Yes, and I think that is possibly what we had also anticipated, that the rescue operation will probably continue through the night, and we just let's hope that it's not worse news that we hear through the night, because the casualties are already 23, and that's one too many. I mean, 23 families destroyed. And over 80 injured, which means, and God forbid, some of these injuries may be pretty serious in nature, so they would need all the help that we can think of. But all I hope, Sway, at the end of all of this discussion is only two things. That I think this tragedy once again tells us only two things. That Indian problems in all our situations are really about the specifics and the last mile problems on the ground, and not about optics, or not about the rhetorical solutions or the betterment that we keep talking about. I think we really need to fix our nitty-gritty, the quality of ambulances, the quality of hospitals, the quality of paramedic care, and the quality of all the small little issues, and not the larger rhetorical issues that we seem to be obsessed about. Faith.
That's absolutely right, Vinay. Very well said. That it's actually an excellent time for us to buckle down and fix the problems that cause our trains to derail and the problems that cause our healthcare services to collapse. I want to thank our panelists for joining us. We'll still stay on this story here on Mirror Now as updates coming in through the night about the rescue operations that are taking place currently in Muzaffarnagar. 23 dead, 80 injured on last count. Stay with Mirror Now.